Hey friends, ever had a brilliant business idea but didn't know where to start or were scared to waste time and money building the wrong thing? Well, that's where MVP come in. In the startup world, MVP means minimum viable product. It's like a rough draft of your business idea, just enough to test if people want it without spending months or millions. Think of it like baking cookies. Before making 200 for a party, you make small batch to see if people like the taste. Same idea with MVPs. You launch a mini version of your product to get real feedback fast. In this video, we are diving into real world examples from companies you know like Amazon, Instagram, Uber. These giants all started small and scrappy. So, ready to get inspired? Let's go. So, the agenda for today is we are going to see what makes a good MVP. Also, we'll see some examples of MVPs from big brands. And also, we are going to see how to continue and proceed to select the MVP approach for your new product. So, what actually makes a good MVP? Imagine you are opening a restaurant. Instead of renting a space, hiring staff, and buying expensive kitchen equipment, you first cook your best dish at home and offer free samples at a local food fair. If people love it and ask for more, you have got something. That's what a good MVP does. A solid MVP helps you test your idea with real people, spend way less time and money, learn what works before going all in. Some of the biggest apps today, like Spotify, Instagram, and Uber, started out as a basic MVPs. They didn't launch with all the bells and whistles. They just solved one clear problem really well. So, how do we build a good MVP? Here's the honest truth. Most startups fail. Why? Because they spend months or years building products people don't even want. A minimum viable product helps you avoid that by getting to real feedback fast. You launch something small, test it with early users, and see what clicks. The goal, not to be perfect, but to learn fast and adjust quickly. You don't need a fancy app or a polished design. All you need is a core feature that solves your customer's biggest pain point. So, now let's get into some real MVP stories from the brands we all know. You'll see how these companies started small, tested their ideas, and grew really big. So, before Uber became the ride-hailing giant we know today, it started as a super basic app called Uber Cab. Back then, co-founder Travis and Garrett just wanted to solve one problem. Finding a taxi in San Francisco was hard. So they created an MVP with just three cars and a simple iPhone app. No fancy UI, no real-time tracking, no in-app payments. In fact, early users had to email the founders and get a special code just to use the app. At first, drivers were contacted manually, and only 3 out of 10 said yes. But guess what? It was enough to prove the idea worked. Once they saw the demand, Uber slowly added more features like GPS, payments, and driver ratings. The rest is history. So, what's the lesson here? Start with one city, one feature, one clear problem. Build from there. Did you know Instagram wasn't always about pretty photos? It started as Bourbon, an app that let people check into places, share plans, and yes, take photos. But it had too many features. Users were confused. Then the founders noticed something interesting. The photo sharing part was the only thing people actually loved. So they stripped away everything else, added filters, and relaunched it as an Instagram. Overnight, 25,000 people signed up. Today, it has over a billion users. So the lesson here is if your users only love one thing, double down on that and forget the rest. Believe it or not, Amazon didn't start as a giant online marketplace. Back in 1994, Jeff Bezos had an idea. What if we sold books online? But instead of building a massive store with warehouses and employees, he started small. He created a simple website that listed books, and when someone placed an order, he bought the book from a distributor and shipped it himself. At one point, they even had a bell that rang every time someone made a purchase. Eventually, it rang so often they had to unplug it. So, the lesson here is start small. You don't need a mega website, just enough to test your idea. Bezos didn't wait until everything was perfect. He focused on one thing selling books at low prices. So, Twitter's story starts with a company called Audio, which originally focused on podcasting. But when Apple released iTunes and crushed their market, their team needed a new idea. So they ran internal hackathons, basically idea brainstorms with rapid coding. During one of those, they came up with simple idea. What if people could share short updates via SMS? That side project was called Twitter. Yes, that's a Twitter without an I. It was meant just for internal use at first, but people loved it. They were tweeting so much, they spent hundreds of dollars in SMS fees. When it went public at conference in 2007, tweet volume tripled overnight. The lesson? Big ideas sometimes start as side experiments. Test small, launch fast, and let users show you the way. So, what do all these MVP success stories have in common? They started small, they tested fast, and they learned from real users before going big. So, here's what to remember: start with a problem, not a product. Pick one feature your users truly need. Use the simplest way possible to deliver it. Listen to feedback and improve from there. Your MVP doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to work enough to teach you what your customers want. Before you build your dream product, pause. Ask yourself, can I test this with a landing page, a video, a Google form, a simple service? Because the sooner you start learning, the sooner you start winning. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.